WWE have abandoned plans to attempt to legalize betting on matches in the US. We've got return updates on CM Punk and Samoa Joe, and the Elimination Chamber 2025 location has been revealed. It's time for the news. You may remember back in May of 2023 that WWE were in talks with state regulators in Colorado and Michigan regarding the legalization of betting on WWE matches. There was immediate hesitancy from regulators. Speaking with CNBC, TKO President Mark Shapiro has given a bit of an update on this, essentially revealing that WWE are not going to be entering the sports betting market in the US.
Yes, he said it's not happening. We're scripted. We're not going to ask Paul Levesque to keep his scripts so under wraps so we can start sports betting. It just doesn't jive. We'll do it with UFC. We're going to do it with UFC, and it's really growing and really lending itself to sports betting, Shapiro said.
Yeah, because it's real, isn't it,
Yeah.
UFC? It would have created all sorts of logistical headaches for WWE with regards to how feuds and matches are booked. The results would have to be locked in months ahead of time if this were to have gone ahead. I think the negatives massively outweigh the positives.
Yeah.
With the legalization of betting on wrestling. We do see it here in the UK. It's legal to bet on wrestling here in the UK. The odds are always crap. In fact, I've got a little story because I used to bet on The Undertaker winning at WrestleMania every year. And literally I'd put on like 100 quid and I'd get like 108 quid back.
Yeah.
The margins were terrible. And then I was going to do it for Brock and I had my student loan come through and I was going to put $1,000 on because it's a dead cert, eh? Got locked out of my account. The luckiest thing that's ever happened to me. But it's silly, isn't it? It's really, really daft. And I think it would have just created so many complications. It would have been an absolute nightmare. So I think this is really, really good news. We haven't even talked about the possibility of insider betting with all of this as well. Yeah. It would have just been a nightmare. So I think that's very good news indeed. Next up, we have a return update on one CM Punk. He has been absent from WWE TV since the Raw after Bad Blood. He was going home to spend time with the missus. But Fightful have noted that the earliest return for Punk has been earmarked. It's not that long away. November 11th, Monday Night Raw. It's not guaranteed that he's going to be brought back to TV for that show. However, it's penciled in maybe.
Yeah.
Obviously, the rumors were that Punk was going to be potentially in a match with Gunther at Survivor Series, that he would be challenging for the World Heavyweight title. However, on Raw, we learned that would be going to Damian Priest winning the Fatal 4-Way match. So I don't know what Punk does at Survivor Series if he's on the show.
Me neither. I mean, even prior to Damian Priest winning that Fatal 4-Way, we had Dominic Mysterio as well. He was there. He got the win over Damian Priest, I believe, the week prior to be the number one contender. And then the 4-Way happened. And so, like, there's all these little different factors in there. Do we get a Fatal 4-Way? Do we just get Punk and Gunther? Like, I don't really know.
But I guess they could turn it into a triple threat. They could do Priest and Punk. He could insert himself. He could do something with Seth. Obviously, I guess he could do something with Drew if he was around. I don't think that's very likely at all.
No.
But there are possibilities there. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him if he does come back on Monday. Speaking of returns, BFS, basically. CM Punk, Samoa Joe go together like ham and cheese. Samoa Joe looks like he'll be coming back to AEW in the not too distant future due to the conclusion of the filming of Twisted Metal 2. Saw the graphics for it, the pictures of him. He looks the bollocks. He looks so
amazing.
good.
I know it's not his voice, which I'm sad about because I would have liked his voice, but it's Will Arnett, I believe, who does the Sweet Tooth voice instead. But like, he just looks the part. I know he's wearing a mask and everything, but he just looks the part.
He does. He's somebody that I could see when he wants to hang up the boots, a transition into acting could be on the table for Samoa Joe,
Absolutely.
like full time, because he's just such an intimidating presence. He's awesome. One of my favorites ever. So he's available to come back as of now, essentially. So we will likely see Samoa Joe very soon, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. We last saw him in that match with Chris Jericho. He was written off TV with the injury angle and the learning tree and all that. So he might end up going after the Ring of Honor title?
I think so, especially with the sort of next story coming up here as well, with the backstage reactions to serious talks over Ring of Honor TV deal. So last week, the Wrestling Observer reported that negotiations for a Ring of Honor TV deal are progressing and getting close. And then this week at the Philadelphia tapings, a lot of the undercard talent seemed very excited over the story breaking that there were talks, and the talks were serious, for a Ring of Honor television show. And it was described as a light at the end of the tunnel.
Long tunnel.
A very long tunnel indeed.
It really has been.
I understand that perhaps, and most likely, this is the reason why Chris Jericho picked up the Ring of Honor World Championship in the first place.
Big marketable name, helps with a deal.
I imagine, with a TV deal coming up, maybe one of the first big matches you would like to have on there would be someone who's synonymous, with Ring of Honor, being Samoa Joe versus Chris Jericho in a big match for the World Championship.
That's it. And then maybe on their first big event, following the TV deal, or on the first episode itself, do the title match, put the belt on Joe. You've got the TV deal now. Jericho doesn't need to hold it anymore. Give it to Samoa Joe. I would really, really miss Samoa Joe on AEW TV if he was exclusive to the Ring of Honor brand. But it's not necessarily the case.
I feel like, he was around Ring of Honor for so long, and I feel like he knows what makes Ring of Honor as well. Yeah. So him sort of like spearheading the new progression of Ring of Honor being on TV, I think that would be a really cool thing, and I think that's something that maybe he would like to maybe do as well, to get it back to that sort of the former glory.
I agree. I think he would take great pride in doing something like that. It would be a really, really cool thing for him to do. Ring of Honor has been a bit of a wasteland. The matches always pretty decent, right?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with the in-ring action, but man, it's just a black hole, isn't it? It's just become a bit of a laughing stock, which sucks for a brand like Ring of Honor, which we've enjoyed for so very long. The stuff that you hear about, people still talk about the Athena matches, the Billy Stark stuff. Really,
really good. That's probably, and we've said this multiple times on the news, I'm sure there are little other bits here and there, but that has been the prominent thing throughout this whole new Ring of Honor coming back that has felt like it's been worth watching and worth keeping up with, because it's been really entertaining.
It bothers me that not enough people have seen it, because I think Athena is amazing. I really, really love her work, and she's on this brand that not enough people are seeing. So hopefully that'll change in the not too distant future. We finish off with a little bit of breaking WWE news. This is literally just broken in the last 30 minutes or so. WWE issuing a press release announcing that Elimination 2025 will take place at the Rogers Centre in Toronto on March the 1st, 2025. Excuse the disappointment.
Yeah.
It had been reported for a while that it was looking like it might be coming to the UK. Then those reports started sort of disappearing and then going like, nah, doesn't look like that's going to happen. And then we got the European announcement, the European tour, WWE doing a few weeks, including Raw and SmackDown broadcasts in the UK and all over Europe. So this isn't a surprise. It's been rumoured for a while, but it is taking place in Toronto. Obviously, we saw it this year in Perth, Australia.
Yep.
Another big stadium show for WWE, going to the Rogers Centre, and they're always amazing crowds. It'll be a joy. It'll be so much fun to watch. I just wonder what WWE is going to look like by then. It's full-on road to WrestleMania time, isn't it? And we'll know a little bit more about the WrestleMania card, and having Elimination Chamber in a place that you know is going to be hot as hell. It's going to be, the crowd are going to be amazing. Is a nice step on the road.
Yeah, for sure. And that just obviously the stuff that we had when Sammy was up against Roman Reigns was phenomenal. And I wonder if we put either maybe him or Kevin Owens in like a big marquee match there as well.
That would be nice.
Which would be really, really cool to see.
That would be nice. Anyway, if you're what do you call them? Torontians? Canadians? If you're a Canadian, a Canuck, then enjoy Elimination Chamber on March the 1st, 2025. That's it from us for the day. You got the podcast coming up in the not too distant future. So stay tuned. Loads of great content coming out this weekend as well. See you in a bit.